In one of my last videos, you saw Mark and Grant leave to go to Canada, and I'm house sitting for them and pet sitting also for their two dogs, Sugar and Trigger. And then of course Lily's here with us too. So I'm here by myself for about a week and a half, 2 weeks maybe, depending on how fast or slow they want to travel. So one of the things that I'm having to do every day is to come out here and start my car. I also look for mice because the van has been sitting for quite a while. Let's see, I have these mothballs. I'll explain that in a second. But I need to get my lithium batteries charged. I like to keep them charged. I don't want them to go completely dead. And two, I'm gonna check for mice. The mothballs, that is to deter mice. So I have these sitting on two of my wheels and then also under the hood. I always check down in the areas where I know they're gonna be at. And I also put stuff inside the van to make sure they don't get in there too. I have Cab Fresh in there, and I also have those like little downy sheets that I put everywhere. And then I also put some paper towels down on the floor in the floorboards, areas where I know they've been before, in case they do get in there for some reason. I can see mouse poop and I'll know really quickly that they're in there. So I just look right down in here, down into that spot down there to see if there's any mice poop down there. And there's a spot right over here, I don't know if I can get in there and see it, where they have tried to get through the kind of insulation right there into the van. But that's been there for a while. The other thing I do is I start the van, as I was saying before, so I can charge the batteries and keep those batteries completely full. Plus I want to start the engine every day to make sure my chassis battery is working properly as well. I just have the remote start, so I just do that and let it do its thing. It's time now to go clean the inside. It's about time for me to leave. Mark and Grant are going to be back soon, and I want to get the van completely cleaned out, wash my sheets and everything that can be washed, and really do a thorough scrubbing of the van inside while I'm here. All right guys, I have taken my driver's side door step completely apart because every time it comes out it makes this crazy noise like it's bumping up against something. And so I've taken the arms off, and then also the side bolts here to these arms, which is actually supposed to be on the step. The step is right here. So now I'm gonna clean it out with my Dyson. And then I also have some silicone here. It's quick drying. that will hopefully help kind of keep that all lube. But I want to clean this up and hopefully that will help. I think I see part of the problem. This arm right here, the bolt is really, really loose. You see that? It's like almost coming out. But this on the bottom that keeps it protected is in the way. I cannot get to it. So the instructions are telling me to take off this faceplate. So I'm gonna do that now. There's another one. And it looks like this is actually coming out. This keeps dirt out. It's falling apart, man. See that? Push that back in. There we go. So you need to get to that screw. Ooh. Let's see. So this just goes back up in here. This was on top of it, keeping it in. Let's get a side angle of this. Okay. Over there. And take this off. Alright, now we can remove this supposedly. I don't know how, but oh my goodness, what is this? This is just sitting in there. What is that to? And here's a bolt down here. All right, it's all tightened up in there. It's tight right there, but this will still swing, which is what we want. I actually was able to clean out some more of this. And here, a little bit, there's still dust and stuff, but I was able to clean out the rocks. All right, gotta put it back together now. Come on, sugar. You cold, girl? Oh. It is a very rainy and cloudy day today, but it's still so beautiful. You can hear all the birds and the insects and the frogs and everything out here. I just love it. A little bit of humidity this morning, which you know I'm not a fan of, but it's still cooler out, in the high 50s this morning. Last night, when I came back in from fixing the van, that step was a holy mess, guys. I could not get it to go back together properly. It almost felt like there were some missing pieces. When I tried to connect the arms that connect to the motor to the step, that was the last thing to connect, and there should have been some kind of a bolt or something on the inside of the step for the screw to go into, and there was nothing there. I took the thing apart like 3 times trying to figure it out. I even went to the other passenger step to check it out to see how it was put together, and there's just something missing. So maybe that was what was wrong with the step. Anyways, I couldn't get it back together, so I shoved the arms back in, closed the step to where it was out just a little bit, enough so that I could step up on it to get into the van. I stuck a magnet next to the sensor on the inside of the door so that the motor didn't run. It thinks that the door's closed the whole time. So actually it worked out kind of well. To be honest, I hate those steps. there's too many moving pieces, you know, things that can break, and it bashes you in the shin if you're not careful. And so I'll probably look at replacing those at some point. I think this is my last day here by myself. I think Grant and Mark will be here either later today or tomorrow. You know, it's been interesting being here. It's one of those things where, you know, it's home life, right? And being out of the van for, oh, I guess it's been almost 3.5 weeks since I've been out of the van, and in a house in this gorgeous place has given me some interesting perspective on maybe what I want in the future. So I've talked a lot about getting some land and maybe building a tiny home on it one day. And I know for sure that I want at least 10 acres of land. And, you know, that way it'll feel a little bit more secluded and out in nature. And I don't want anything that's going to be too hard to maintain. But I just don't know where it's going to be at. I've thought it would be in Arizona in the desert, but it just doesn't appeal to me, to be honest. Like, this here with all the trees and the lushness and the beauty is what appeals to me. I don't have the answer yet. So I always know when I feel really conflicted about something that it's not the time to make a move. So I'll kind of wait on that one. I think it has a lot of the things that I love, the peace and quietness and solitude and nature, and it's just really incredible and earthy. I love like just everything about this place. And, you know, I'm not ready to hang up my hat yet by any means and stop traveling. If I buy a land and build a tiny home, it just is going to be more of a home base for me, and something that I'm thinking about long term for my future. I turned 50 this year, and I want this place to be the place that I kind of retire in, if I even retire, and maybe grow old in. So I want to keep all of those things in mind when I start to look. And, you know, as time goes on, I may not travel as much, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. It just maybe as I age, right? But I do miss the van. I miss traveling and being in it. And although I will say, filming out here and being able to move my tripod around everywhere, and then like while I'm cooking and stuff, has been amazing without like banging up against something. So, you know, I go back and forth about the van and the truck and trailer and what do I want to do and selling the van, and I just don't know what the answer is right now. And I just feel super conflicted about everything right now. I'm not sure what it is. You guys have said something to me about pulling a trailer with my van. I can't. It's 3,500 pounds. I mean, I'd have to get like a new camp or something, like a teardrop. So yeah, that defeats the purpose for what I want. I want more space to do, you know, my yoga, my flexibility exercises, a workspace, like a dedicated workspace, a bigger kitchen potentially, or, you know, especially with a bigger refrigerator. There's things like that, and it's not going to give me that. So that just defeats the purpose. But I have thought about buying a small little cargo trailer. I can get the bike out of the elements, put my gear and everything in there. It'll allow me to potentially get a kayak, still probably a foldable kayak, and put in there. And those are fairly lightweight. I would pull max 2,000 pounds with that, with stuff inside of it. So there's that possibility too. It means I'm towing something with a van, but it would be smaller, and I don't think it would be too bad. But you know what it does also is it allows me to save my spot while I'm boondocking, so that I can leave the trailer there and go out and get groceries and do errands and stuff like that, and then come back and still have my camp spot. So it kind of serves a couple of really good purposes, actually. So we'll see. I have a lot of options and things to think about as I move forward, but at the end of the day, I don't have to do any of them. I can relax and enjoy what I have. It's simple. It has its constraints, but part of that is because of my business. I have equipment and things that I need for my business, and so I, could maybe pare some of that down or rearrange, or I just don't know yet. It'll be nice to be back in the van after being in here and seeing the comparison of how I feel being back in the van after being in such a bigger space here for 3.5 weeks. Yesterday when I was cleaning it out, it felt really good to kind of be back in there and just, feeling like I want to get behind the steering wheel and get traveling again and exploring some more. And don't get me wrong, I've loved every minute that I've been here. I have not once sat there and thought, oh, I can't wait to get back out on the road. Meaning, usually when I'm at someone's house or visiting someone for a little while, or if I'm in one place for too long, I have itchy feet to leave, and leave within probably 3 to 5 days. But maybe that's because it's in the city and it's, noisy. It's different for me. So this has been a very interesting thing that has happened that's given me some perspective. Well, it is humid once again, so I ran out to the hardware store. Don't know why I didn't think about this before, but I got some damp rid. It's this bucket right here. I just have it on the floor. What that does is it gets rid of the moisture in the air, and I don't want my sheets and stuff to be all damp when I get back in here. You really need to control the moisture in the air in your RVs, especially like your Class Cs and the things that are built with wood. This is tin, so it's a little bit better, but when I had my Class C, it can get really bad in there. You can get mold, so you just gotta be really careful. Anyways, that's in here now. Should have bought this a long time ago on the East Coast.
I'm still right here. I'll always be right here. The light is on, so